for the fofo. This for the fofo. For the city and them back roads. Got a whole county full of them ghosts. All from the fofo and let's go. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah. So let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva. Them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the fofo chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewell got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really doubt it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And kinda got flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the fofo. This for the fofo. This for the fofo.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Let me go ahead and do my sound check that I always do. It's been a long time since I've been back. We took a little bit of a hiatus. All right, good. We got sound. That's good. It's been a little bit of a hiatus as baseball season was getting done with, baseball and softball season rather, as those spring sports, diamond sports, got finished up, and now we are transitioning into football season. So we're going to get into that here in just a little bit. This weekend coming up, one of my favorite sporting events. This is an event that has really kind of shaped my childhood, shaped my love for basketball, and that's right here, wearing the throwback my West Junior High Puma shirt right here, as we're getting ready for the West Side Shootout this weekend. I'll get into that here in just a little bit. I do want to take this time just really quickly to say happy anniversary to my wife, Jessica. The best decision, the luckiest decision I've ever had made on my behalf is her deciding that she was going to spend her life with me. And today, our 5-year anniversary. Honest to God, my best friend. That's the one I can always count on. My love for her never ever will end. It grows every single day. The best wife, the best mother, the best person anybody could ask for. So. Happy anniversary to my beautiful wife, Jessica. Thanks so much for putting up with me for the last 5 years, and I hope that you put up with me for the next 100, because I can't see life without you either. Now let me get past all that mushy stuff, although she deserves it all. So, but getting back to some of the things going on this weekend, the West Side Shootout, that one's getting ready to start, excuse me, that one started. So yesterday, actually, the West Side Shootout is one of these events here in Ashtabula. Beulah. For those of you in the YSN Nation that aren't really aware of how we do it up here in Ashtabula. West Side Shootout is an outdoor basketball tournament. This is an outdoor basketball tournament, 5-on-5, that has started. I want to say it started back in the 70s. And a lot of different people have put in a ton of work to make this tournament happen year in, year out. And again, it's for people to come out and enjoy basketball. It's for people to go out and, really have a nice day out. It ends up being a beautiful event. And the current iteration is run by the Osborne family, Mike and Bill Osborne, who took over after years and years of the great Dougie Miller running it. And, there's a lot of people involved. I know the Cancel family takes a huge part in the event as well. Some of the people that I look up to very, very much. And I'm really excited about this one. There will be some coverage of this event. I'm not 100% sure how much live coverage we're going to have. I'm still trying to kind of figure some of that out. But this tournament, which started as just 18 and over, for years and years, and it's always been the first full weekend in July is when they do it. So it's one of those things you can kind of look on your calendar and anticipate. This tournament set to start, or actually did start on yesterday, the 6th. So they've grown this tournament from just men to 7th and 8th grade boys. And that starts on Thursday. So some youth factor getting involved in there. And then tonight rather, there actually is a high school boys tournament. So how cool is that? It's a high school boys tournament that's outside. So you're going to see some guys who I believe all the way up to fresh graduates can play in this high school tournament outdoors. And it's just a way to kind of plant that seed of the love. And it's not very hard. I'll tell you what, it as somebody, I've never even played in the West Side Shootout. It's something that I look forward to all year long. And there we go right here. As we said, some of the fresh graduates, and what better one than this man right here, Deshaun Williams. Deshaun Williams is a guy who you've heard his name on here a ton, whether it's covering basketball and that sort of thing for the last couple of years. The sharpshooter, the very effective wing is what I would describe him as. He's going to be out there, so looking forward to getting to see him out there. Excuse me. And that's one of the best parts, I think, of this tournament. So there are some of the names in the past that you've seen, some of the current names, like guys like Deshaun Williams, that are going to be out there playing. You're going to have, some names of the future, and the foresight that it took to get, the 7th and 8th grade players out there. I do believe there's a girls' game too. I'm not 100% sure. It's not listed. I know that sometimes it's hard to actually get enough teams for that, but they've also looked onto the women's side of the sport to get them involved. But to have that foresight to keep the growth. And one of the things, when we were just talking a couple weeks ago, actually, when Emilio Parks was on and we were getting ready for his indoor tournament, he talked about the culture, the basketball culture right here in Ashtabula. And these are some of the things that I think affect the culture positively. You're going to get to see some of the best basketball players from today, yesterday, and tomorrow, all on the court right here at West Junior, right there at the old West Junior High. And those, I guess I should clarify as well, because there's a lot of things that happen right here in Ashtabula that I think we kind of take for granted that people understand and that they know. So it's currently held at what is called the MFG Basketball Park, which is over off of West Avenue, and it's right next to the MFG factory right here in Ashtabula. Now, we call this the West Side Shootout because that stood the site of West Junior High for years and years and years. And then after, the combination of the schools, they started getting rid of some of the buildings. So now, while it is sad, it's hard for a person like me, somebody who went to West Junior High, and so many people who did, to kind of see that land sit empty at where the building, used to stand. As the Madonna song, "This Used to Be My Playground," begins to play in my head as I start to think about it. But it's been repurposed because now it's this wide open area, a beautiful parking lot. And shout out to MFG for stepping in and really refacing the parking lot, getting the basketball courts up and running. Now you've got 2 regulation courts right next to each other. It's all fenced in. It's a beautiful, beautiful court. They paint it every year. They make sure it is really something to be seen. But, what I'm getting at is with that building no longer there, it kind of opens up the space and allows for a larger community involvement in there. You're going to see some people that are the best dressed out there. You're going to see some of the best sneakers. You're going to see some of the best short sets. I mean, all kinds of just beautiful, beautiful stuff going on right here in Ashtabula. There's going to be, there's usually food. There's some food trucks hanging around. It is really, if you are not doing anything this weekend, let me be the one to invite you personally. come out to the West Side Shootout and check it out. It's something, I think it's a very positive event. It's something that you can take, it's really something that these people, the Osborns, the Cancells, that they work very, very hard for. And me personally, as somebody who grew up on the West Side Shootout, somebody who grew up on the West Side, it's a point of pride. It's something that I very, very much look forward to every year, and I cannot wait to see how it's going to go this year. Last year we actually had all-day coverage of the men's tournament with some familiar names like Marcus Ernst, Brandon Ford, Kyron Jones, the young Mr. Dragon. I'm going to forget some names, and I'm very, very sorry. But they ended up winning the tournament last year. It was really, really a fun tournament to watch. You had some big names coming back last year. Morgan Lewis, the international professional basketball player, the guy who was taken number 1 in the Canadian National Basketball League draft, the Finley product, the guy who you watched go on ESPN and dunk on Krista Kufos at Ohio State. He came back to the tournament, brought himself a team. Roderick Coffey, guys like that, all coming back. And then, those are the guys who I guess you can technically call from yesterday, but it's really not that far away. But then you've got some of the guys like the Cancel brothers, Carlos and Ralph, the sharpshooters going out there, the guys who have made their name on that court, coming out there. These guys are, I guess you could call them a little bit longer in the tooth now, but still very, very active, still very effective players coming out and playing a great game of basketball. It's one of my favorite events. As you can tell, I can go on and on about the West Side Shootout. I think it's a terrific event that happens right here in Ashtabula. It's an annual event, and it's really a great look at some of the great things that are happening here in Ashtabula. So that will be going on tonight. Now tomorrow will be June 8th will actually be for the grown men, the big dogs. This one it's you bring your own team. And one of the cool things about this West Side Shootout that has been a point of contention for the last couple years, for the last couple of years, I guess is really how it goes, is you bring your own team. So at the beginning, when this tournament actually first started, it was kind of almost like a gym class way of getting things going. So you would have guys that would get up, and I mean a bunch of guys, 40, 50, 60, 70 guys. They would all get to West Junior High. They would pick 8 to 12 captains. The captains could bring a guy with them. So, I'm gonna throw my good friends under the bus. So say your name is, Rashad Osborne. So your name is Rashad Osborne, and you're gonna come out and pick off the fence. Well, you get to bring one guy with you. So you bring your brother Theron Osborne. So that's a team of 2. So each captain can bring one guy without counting their picks. And then after that, they would pick off of the fence. Just like you would see when you were kids. All right, give me this guy. All right, give me this guy. Give me this guy. And you would form these teams that it would really set out for some entertaining basketball is what I would say, because you had some guys that had never played together, so they didn't necessarily mesh well, but you had all these conflicting skill sets, and it made for very entertaining basketball. There was always some teams that ended up being stacked. There were always some teams that maybe had an early day. Don't get it wrong. You're 2 and out. So there are some guys who are going to be wearing a jersey in the morning and going home and getting showered and getting some new clothes on there in the afternoon. So that was the old way of doing it. Now, in the last couple of years, they've changed that from picking off the fence to you bring your own team. Now, your own team, I believe, can have up to 7 potentially on your team. So you can do some substitutions. And with that came some positive change too. with that, you had guys who have played together. You have guys who really kind of upped the competitive portion of the game because they played so well together that there's just some things that they can do better. Again, there's a little bit of contention on whether that's the right thing or the wrong thing, but one thing I can say is that when it comes to the shootout, the Cancel family, the Osborne family, they're going to do whatever needs to be done to improve the event. So I trust their judgment completely. So getting into that, you've got teams from all over the place that come up here as well. So it's not just a Ashtabula thing. So this is a call to action out here as well. How about all of to the new YSN audience that is not aware? Do you have a team of 5? Do you have a team of 5 basketball players? Make the trip up Route 11. Make the trip up Route 11. Play in this outdoor tournament. Come here and see how you guys do. You get teams from Akron. You got teams from Cleveland. There for a couple of years, we had some teams coming in from New Jersey. There's teams from all over the place. It's very, very competitive. I would love nothing more than to get some of the teams from the Youngstown, Mahoning, Columbiana area up here and enjoying this tournament, taking part. It's really run well. It's run by a bunch of guys and girls that know basketball inside and out. I mean, Hall of Fame level guys and ladies running this basketball tournament. It's truly the gem of the summer when it comes to outdoor basketball. I love it very, very much. As you can tell, because I've ranted on it for right around 18 minutes. But yeah, this is what's going to be going on this weekend. We've got some other events that are going to be going on this weekend, and we'll get to those here in just a little bit. I am going to go to my first break. It's been a while since I've been back on here, so to get back into the flow. But I knew I'd be all right because it's the West Side Shootout, baby. That's my favorite event. I could talk about this one for hours and hours. We are going to go to our first break, though. I want to give you guys some announcements when we come back. I am so excited. We are on the eve of what is going to become the most exciting fall sports season in Ashtabula County history. And I'll tell you why when we come back.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoning County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
This auto show season, Greenwood Chevrolet is celebrating more than a stunning Chevy vehicle lineup. We're celebrating the team that helps you find the perfect vehicle and goes the extra mile for you. Right now, lease a 2023 Equinox for as low as $289 a month, with Chevy lease loyalty up to $1,500. With over 280 vehicles in stock, you can experience the auto show in a brand new way, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
All right, everybody, we're back. Again, happy Friday to everybody here on the 440 Sports Show. As I gave you guys that little bit of a teaser about, how we've got what I believe is going to be the most game-changing fall in Ashtabula County sports history. I'm really, really pleased to announce we've had some additions to the team. And with additions to the team is going to increase the sheer number of broadcasts that we can offer right here on YSN. Ashtabula County this year, each team will have a minimum of 7 games streamed. And we are not done yet. We've got a couple weeks where there's a little bit of an overflow. And there's some blanks on the schedule just because we don't necessarily have anybody to grab that game just yet. But you're talking about well over 60 football games that are going to be streamed. All Ashtabula County teams going to get their time in the sun right here on YSN. And I could not be any more excited. I could not be any more proud. There are going to be some names you know. There are going to be some names you're going to get to know. We've got some final little details to kind of lock in, and that'll be happening next week. Just make sure you're paying attention for that announcement. But Ashtabula County, stand up. You have a team. You've got a broadcast team. YSN Ashtabula has become a reality. We've got some people who are joining, and every week you're going to be able to find your games. There will be no more reason ever for you to get on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or text anybody and ask, where's the game going to be tonight? Is it going to be streamed? Because the answer is and always will be, yes, there's a game stream tonight, and it's on ysnlive.com. Your sports, live, local, and loyal, and I could not be any more proud than what we are going to do this fall. Tons and tons of coverage of fall sports, football, volleyball, soccer, more coverage than we've ever seen in this area, live broadcasts. We're going to have stories that are coming out right after the games. You're going to be able to find out what's going on. We're doing player profiles. We're doing coaching profiles. You're going to be in the loop. You're going to be in the know. 7 of the 8 Ashtabula County teams have joined the YSN family, and 7 of the 8 are going to have an absolute ton of exposure and coverage this year, and I could not be any more excited. As you can tell, it's been a passion project since the beginning. Since the 440 and goal beginning. That's what we've always wanted. We just wanted the game streams to be out there. We wanted everybody to be able to see. We wanted there to be a physical record of the game that is easily accessible. And guess what, folks? That's what we've got. Right here on YSN Live, YSN Ashtabula has become a reality. And you're going to see some new faces, and you're going to hear some new voices, and a lot of excitement, and most importantly, a lot of exposure and ease of access to these games right here on ysnlive.com. It doesn't get any better than that, folks. I can't tell you how excited I am. We've got some other things that are coming up. Obviously, the Combine's coming up on the 22nd. We're going to have some more details that's coming out on that. It's going to be 9 o'clock on the 22nd at the Spire. You know what I mean? There's not necessarily we didn't get as many teams as I wanted to, but it's the first year in. So I'll keep kind of chipping away at that Youngstown block. We're going to get us a couple of those teams up here eventually. But we're on the eve of that. We're on the eve of something new and something so beneficial with YSN and in YSN Prospect. And that's as far as I'll go on that, because you can go kind of look and find out a little bit more on that. But you want to talk about a game changer. YSN Prospect's going to be that. Unveiling, we've got some new website features that are on the way out right here on YSN. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be a youth, to be a high school player in any sport. It's an exciting time to be a fan of high school sports as well. We're coming upon, there's some big time things going on here. I want to get back to a couple things. So, earlier this week I put out, and as I've transitioned into football mode, which doesn't take much, and DJ will attest to this. I am almost to my detriment. I am a football guy. The season is never long enough, and the breaks are always too long. I love the sport. It never gets old. It's a constant grind, and I'm always enjoying every step, every minute of it. Last year, with the new experiences of getting to go to Canton, getting to watch the Cinderella stories, really, of Jefferson going out and winning this area's first regional championship in football is something that you couldn't write a better story than that. Watching a team like Jefferson go out and, they were dogs in the first game against Girard. They were dogs in the second game against Canton South. They were dogs in the third game against West Branch. And they found time after time after time, they found ways to get around it. And it was an experience that you had to be there. You had to be there. But you know what the beautiful thing is if you weren't there, the games are right here. So you could go back and get kind of a morsel, a taste of what the excitement was last year. But getting to follow a team like the Jefferson Falcons all the way until they met the buzzsaw, the Monstar team that is Glenville. And we're going to talk about that a little bit too, because yesterday's Power Hour, let me tell you guys, yesterday's Power Hour, DJ had a coach who Bob Spate. He's the Columbiana coach. He's also one of the heads of one of the Northeast Ohio coaching associations up here. And he was on the show with DJ, and Power Hour and DJ, they do a great job every show. But when you give him a guy like this that has such good information, it was one of the best shows I've ever watched. And I encourage you guys all to go back and check it out, because Bob Spate, who is a very knowledgeable man, had some very poignant things to say about OHSAA. Yes, and then Poland week 1. Yes, and that's Coach Hannah right there. And that is let me add on to that. Part of what made that special as well is to watch somebody that you grew up with as well. A guy like Brandon Hanna, who I have known since we were little guys running up and down on Adams Avenue. And a guy who I always knew had that greatness in him. And it's awesome to watch the people you love do the things that they're great at. And that was part of it as well. And yeah, I forgot about Poland. How could I forget about Poland? Poland was it was the first time they were an underdog in that game. And the beautiful thing about that game was Jefferson's the underdog. They won the regular season game. They won the regular season game, but immediately people start talking, well, you can't beat them twice. It's too hard to beat them twice. And every hurdle that was put in front of them last year, except one, which, the Glenville one, who, just happened to do this right into a state championship as probably the biggest Division IV team ever put together. But my God, what an exciting year. And I almost feel like I was spoiled last year. Because of this run. No sleep in a playoff run. Games are played on Saturday after week 11. We don't get to film till Sunday. No sleep. And Coach Hanna says, the NE8 prepped them for the entire reign. And that's absolutely true. You talk about the NE8 conference. You talk about South Range. You talk about Lakeview, who was incredible last year. You talk about Struthers, who started off slow and picked up the pace at the end of the year. And then you've got Hubbard, and then you've got Poland. And I mean, it's a never – when do you get your break? You don't. But for Coach Hanna and the Falcons, they take all those experiences, all the long, hard, tough games that they played, and now they join a whole new dance as they go into the CVC Lake this year. And just another reason why I am so excited about fall football this year, because while it may be called the CVC Lake on paper, if you look at the makeup of it, Lakeside, Geneva, Edgewood, Conneaut, Jefferson, Madison. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just the NEC. It's just a horse, same color, different name. It's local football. It's regional football at its best right here. And guess what? All the games are going to be here. You're going to find everything right here on YSN. How amazing is that? Outstanding, outstanding. I can't wait to see what Coach Hanna and the Falcons do. I got, everybody kind of razzed me a little bit because I got hyped the entire year. I loved watching the way those kids play. I loved watching the way he coached those kids. And this year is going to be even better because all the questions from last year is this team better than this team? They're all out the door. You all play each other. Everybody's going to play each other. That is how you figure out who's the best of the best. But let me jump back really quickly. So I put out a question earlier in this week, and the question was about film. As like I said, I have already transitioned into the football side, and one of the things I love to hear is from coaches at any level, any coach who's had to game plan, any coach who's had to prep. I like to kind of learn. Maybe not the entire recipe, but I do like to get some tips and tricks and see kind of how they're coming to their decisions. And my question this week was, question for the coaches out there at any level, when you're looking at film of your opponents, are you getting more from the games that they win, or are you getting more from the games that they're losing? Which one is more beneficial when planning? And I know that at first it kind of seems like a stupid question, because you're like, oh, well, you don't want to see anything that they lost in, right? Like you don't want to, that doesn't do you any well. If they're not playing good, if they don't have a good team they're playing against, then it's not going to show. Well, I disagree there a little bit, because I think in losses can kind of unveil maybe where are they weak at? What openings did teams take advantage of on a team, on a film? We're talking film here. And if you ever have film questions, it's right here on YSN Live. There's a lot. It's a huge archive. But you look at a team where look at a game where they lost, you can see how another team beat them. And then do you try to replicate that? Or do you try to take those things that worked and implement them into your system? And then on the other side, you take a game where the team you are scouting won the game, and I look at that as now that's going to show me where their strengths are. And I almost think, and any coaches who are watching, I'd love to get your input on this too, because I'm an outsider looking in. I've got some comments we're going to run through too. I almost wonder if if you're scouting a team, if the games that they won can't be a little bit harmful. Because, so say you have a team that's going against a team, you have Team A and Team B, and Team A, who's the team you're scouting, is so much better than Team B. I wouldn't think you would get an accurate look at the team you're scouting if they go out there and just mollywop them from, the first quarter to the last whistle. In a loss, I almost wonder if you don't learn more about a team in a loss, because I don't know any team, I don't know any coaches that just lay down. And you know what I mean? So in a loss, you're almost going to get the stuff they wanted to save. You're almost going to get to see the looks that they maybe didn't want to unveil yet, because no coach, when the final whistle goes, no coach wants to be the loser there. No team wants to be the loser there. Coach Hanna, that's a great question. Sorry, I didn't share my book thoughts. LOL. Sometimes I can overthink these things. The underground film world is a vicious monster. Yesterday's price is not today's price. And that's another thing too. That's absolutely another thing. Now, I think things are moving in a positive direction. I think the accessibility to each opponent's film has become easier every year with additions like YSN. There's Huddle. There's social media. I mean, people are just flat out recording games. I think it gives coaches a chance to prepare better now than coaches ever in the past. But I've always wondered, because there's two schools of thought, and I'm going to get to some of the comments right now. So Kevin Crockett, coaching at the youth level, coaching at the junior high level for years, being an assistant at the varsity level as well. He chimed in on the post and says, in his opinion, you get more of how they won. They always go back and work on their mistakes, but not all coaches will go back and perfect what worked or what's working. So, Coach Crockett coming out and saying, sometimes looking at how they won, because some coaches are going to see, well, we did this great, so we don't need to work on that anymore. Some coaches say, we did this great, but we can do it better. And I think those are the coaches, honestly, that play longer. Those coaches that get to play into November and December, it's not by accident. It's not by accident. Coach Matt Pete over at Geneva, you talk about the wing tee, the iron wing tee over there at Geneva that has caused so many headaches for everyone around here. It's so effective. It is so effective. It's something that the moment you cross over the line into Geneva, whether you're coming from Madison or coming in from Saybrook, you start to get wing tee tendencies thrown at you, because that's how long the Geneva Eagles have been doing it. Coach Pete says, I don't care if they win or they lose. I'm looking for weak spots, and if they make adjustments to them. Same on game day. If I find a weakness, I'm going to pound it until they adjust. I will also chart their strengths so I can do my best to eliminate them. If it's a blowout win, I won't spend a lot of time on that particular game. And that's one of those things that I can see. I can understand. I tend to agree with. I don't know that you're going to get a lot. I don't know that you are going to get a lot out of. I'm trying to grab the post again, because we had some more comments on there. I digress. I'm sorry. I don't know that you're going to get a lot from blowout wins either, because, let's just be honest. When it's 28-0 in the third quarter or going into halftime, that third quarter, you're probably going to see some guys playing that aren't going to play against you this week unless you're getting blown out. And I'm talking about JV players. JV is so important because it's part of the development. Here we go. JV, very, very important, and I don't want to downgrade that either, because it's very important to the development of a good football team. If you show me what your JV team is doing, I'll show you what you're going to do next year. But when you're talking about the Friday night, the varsity level football, when these teams are blowing out other teams, you pull the starters. I know for a fact you're not running through your playbook. That it kind of lends credence to what I was saying, in that I almost wonder, do you got to get more from a loss? You get more from a loss, because that's when the teams they go out there and they leave everything on the table. If a team is very, very comfortable, you're not going to see any innovation. When a team gets pushed up against it, though, when a team is getting their teeth knocked out, they don't want that final whistle to be blown and they're down on the scoreboard. I don't care if the score is 14-7 or if the score is 56-0. Coaches are going to keep fighting throughout most of those games. Because there's a pride there, and their team has a pride there, and their team expects them to always believe that they can win. You know, one of the things that on yesterday's Power Hour, Coach Bob Spate over at Columbiana was talking about is, and again, let me encourage you guys once more to go back and watch that show. It is worth it. He gave out some absolute gems on the show when it comes to the playoffs, the current workup, how OHSAA all kind of plans into that. It was great stuff. But he made a comment on yesterday's show that, you know, coaches are the ultimate optimist. And I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. If you're coaching a football team, if you're coaching a basketball team, if you're coaching a volleyball, a soccer, if you're coaching a bowling team, if you are coaching an academic decathlon team, I don't care what you're coaching. If you don't believe that your boys, your girls, or your boys and girls together, every time they go out there into the arena of competition, if you don't believe that those kids have a chance, then you're doing them an injustice. I don't care what the odds are. I don't care how high they are stacked up. If you don't believe that on any given day you can be the best at whatever you're doing, I don't know that maybe you should be there. Somebody's got to believe in those kids. Kids need people to believe in them, and those are the ones who are going to show up for you. So, you know, again, let me get back to some of these comments over here. Coach George Gresko talking about the question on, do you get more from losses? Do you get more from wins? Coach Gresko says, definitely their losses. How did other teams exploit them? What worked, what didn't? Again, kind of falling into my realm of what I believe. I think the losses reveal so much. Glenn Campbell Jr., Coach Glenn Campbell Jr., a surprise victory is definitely going to warrant some extra attention to detail during a film breakdown. You get more out of the quality of the opponent, in my opinion. Wins and losses don't mean too much. Coach Terry Henton. I will take a blowout film. When JV guys come in, you know it's basic offense. The plays you run the most in practice. Give me all the film. Win, lose, or tie. There is so much to see in 4 quarters of film. Damian Hunter agreeing with the points. Appreciate you. Yeah, Coach Henton jumping in here too. Coach Henton over there at Edgewood. He said he wants all the film. And that's kind of the overwhelming what I've heard from most coaches is they want as much film as they can get. They want to be able to dissect it, and they're looking for tendencies, and they want to see, a lot can be found when they're winning. A lot can be found when they're losing. Whether you young athletes who are out there actually playing the game, whether you realize or not, every action you make is a tell. It's a big game of poker. It's a big game of poker, and they're trying to find your poker face. They're looking to see, how do you act when you get tired? When you get your bell rung, do you go out there? Are you a three-quarter effort guy after that? Are you maybe trying to run away from the play because you don't want it? Or are you the guy that every time you get knocked out, you get up and you come even harder? Quarterbacks, quarterback throws an interception. Does he come out on the next series of plays? Does he come out and is he confident enough to make the throws that he's made all week in practice? Or has the seed of doubt been planted? Running backs that are averaging 8-9 yards a carry, when they get caught in the backfield for an entire quarter, can they come out and can they dig deep enough? Can they believe in themselves enough to continue doing what's brought them there to that point? Or can you break them? And even if you can break them, can the coaches revive them? The film portion of football to me is one of the most interesting. It's what makes football a strategical match as opposed to a backyard game. It's what separates people. It's preparation. The games are not won. Games in football are not won in July. They're not won in August. They're not won in September. They're not won in October. And they're darn sure not won in November and December. Football games are won in January, in February, and all the months that lead up to it. Who's doing better prep? Who is all in? Who's going to put in the work that is going to make the difference? And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing teams more and more now that take the off season is just off by its title. There's no off season. It's the prep season. The best teams don't have an off seasons. The best teams have what they call the prep phase. And the earlier it gets, the better the results that you're seeing from these teams. The more buy-in from the kids, you're seeing it. And it's shown time after time after time. You look at a team, you look at a South Range, you look at a Canfield, Chardon, Kirtland, Holben. These teams are these athletes are year-round guys. These coaches are year-round guys. Football doesn't stop when the ball drops on January 31st or December 31st. It starts again. It's time. They turn the page on to the next chapter, whether that is lifting, running, trying to get better, coaching clinics, looking over their offense, what worked, what didn't work. It's the best part of football. It's the reason why I get so very excited about what's coming up. It doesn't get any better. And this year, again, this fall will be a game changer for Ashtabula County when it comes to fall sports. You will have more football game coverage every Friday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Whatever day you're playing on the varsity level, we're going to be there. There's no need to ask the question anymore. Is the game being streamed and where is it at? Because the answer is always yes, and the answer is always right here on YSN. Outstanding stuff that's coming up this fall. This weekend, I also want to just a quick shout out. I don't have the details in front of me. I will be sharing it. We will be having a golf outing for one of our comrades here on YSN. Ty Bartell. Ty Bartell is somebody who you've gotten a chance to see. I work with him on the Diamond Roundup. He calls all of Austintown Fitch games. He's the new voice of the Mahoning Valley Scrappers. One of the best human beings you'll ever meet in your life. And unfortunately, him and his family have taken a pretty big blow by the bug that is cancer. Where his father has developed a serious stage 4 form of cancer. There's more information on the outing. Again, I'm going to get some information out there on this outing. If you can find it in your heart, time to get down there and support at this outing. I think it would be great. I know I'm going to be there. I'm not playing as far as I know because I'm awful. But that's one of the things going on this weekend. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And I my thoughts and my prayers, I believe in God very, very much and believe that with him, we can do a lot of things. So all those prayers and, good vibes and all that is very much welcomed for Ty Bartell and his family. That'll be happening on Sunday. And again, this weekend, a lot going on. The shootout, it's time to get back to it. We'll be back again next Friday. The shootout will be happening tomorrow, obviously, for the grown folks. Tonight, I might try and get down there and peek down to see this high school game, depending on what the schedule lets me know. And again, stay tuned for next week. We've got some announcements. I'll be meeting with my team. You're going to get to see some new names, some new faces that are going to be joining the team and who's going to be calling your games. You're going to find that out, too. really, really excited about where we're at. We're in the precipice of greatness right here in Ashtabula. And what a time. What a time to be a coach. What a time to be a player. What a time to be a fan. It doesn't get any better than that. Yeah, so let me bring this up. All right, it is Friday. So for Friday, you're going to get my final thought. And this week's final thought is going to be really simply, it's not much to do with sports. My final thought is just wishing a happy anniversary to my beautiful wife again before I sign off on here. For 5 years, we've been married. For 5 years, she's put up with me. For 5 years, she's been the most supportive person in my corner. I will always be in debt to her. Without her and her side of the 440 Sports Show, I can promise you guys it doesn't happen. So for my final thought, it really comes down to, making sure that when you're in whatever partnership you're in, whether it's a marriage, a friendship, whether you're coaching together, whether you're teammates, make sure that you're going out there and you're doing everything to support each other and get each other better. Because when you have 2 people, 3 people, when you have a group of people, when you have people that really care about each other and want to see everyone succeed and want to see the others succeed, what you end up with is a product that is untouchable. So no matter what you're doing, whether it's a relationship, coaching, or being part of a team, make sure that you're doing everything to keep everybody around you moving up, all while you're moving up yourself. My name is Sam Torres. That is this week's show. I want to thank everybody for joining in. I want to thank all of the coaches for jumping in and providing some great comments and some great insights. I have been blessed to have a huge group of people around me that are always, amped to give out some knowledge. And because of that, it helps me on so many levels. So again, that's this week's show. We will be back with another show next week. I want to thank you all for joining me this morning. My name is Sam Torres, and this is for the 440.
This for the 440. This for the 440. For the city and the back roads, got a whole county full of them goats. All from the 440 and that goat. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the 440 chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcon. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewell got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And Connie, I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number 1 in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the 440. This for the 440. This for the 440.